Warm-hearted viewers, this is Start ANEW on his coming broadcasting network. The term Start ANEW is an acronym which stands for sunlight, temperance, air, rest, trust in God, alternative medicine, nutrition, exercise, and water. Today, we are honored to feature Dr. Samuel Dizon on our program.
Hello again. We are on our continuing lecture. Now we'll be tackling Introduction to Alternative Medicine under our Start ANEW program. Most of the time, patients will come to us asking, what's the good medicine for heart disease? Or what would be a good medicine for cancer? Unfortunately, that is not how we approach healing. We try to treat people in a way that it's like building a house. Maybe someone will tell us, what's the good paint for a house? But we try to repair the house. We just don't want to give something to make it feel good or look good. I mean, the human body. So, natural healing involves utilizing different modalities to make a person go back to its state of wholeness. You may be physically strong, but mentally something is wrong with you, then you are not healthy. Or you can be physically in good shape, mentally in good shape, but everybody hates you. So there's something wrong with you in terms of wholeness. So our trust is to turn the patient back to what should be well, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Natural healing uses nature's resources, and usually us healers believe that the body has an inherent healing ability. When the body has problems, it is because that healing ability is being blocked by so many things. Natural healing or naturopathy concentrates on the disease cause. If you say you have a high blood pressure and you're having problems, we'll tell you why. Why do you have high blood pressure? Oh, because my diet is rich in fat and such a thing. So we treat the cause of the problem. And then we try to bring the patient to what we call a treatment regime. It's not just a matter of taking a medication or an herb. It's not just a matter of maybe doing some pressure points or maybe doing sacolema or enema. It's a matter of using it much the way a person will build a house or rebuild a house. It took years for the house to start going downhill, and it'll take time to repair. But if the house falls down, then you don't have a house anymore. So what we try to do is repair it, like you need a carpenter, you need maybe a plumber, you need an electrician, maybe even someone who's going into the masonry. So it's a whole different ballgame, especially for disease like cancer, diabetes, where not only one organ is being involved, not only one problem is being noticed. An inspirational writer, Ellen White, says, the use of natural remedy requires an amount of care and effort that many are not willing to give. Nature's process of healing is gradual, and if you are impatient, it will seem slow to you. And staying away from hurtful things requires sacrifice. Like if we tell you, don't eat fatty food, don't do this, don't do that. For some patients, it's a sacrifice for them. It's been their lifestyle for many, many years, and now you tell them they can't do this, they can't do that. In the end, if they will follow, they will find that nature will do her work wisely and well. Those who persevere in obedience to her law will reap the reward in health of body and health of mind. You don't get a disease overnight. It takes years of maybe ignorance, abuse, and maybe overdoing things. It will take time to reverse it. But if you have a life-threatening disease like cancer, you cannot wait years to reverse it. You have to speed up things. And it so happens that natural healing is slow. So then you have to attack the problem from different point of view. To win a battle, to win a war, you're going to need the Air Force, the Navy, the infantry, and so on. The same thing when you are fighting a disease like cancer. For heart disease and diabetes, it's just a question of having a good lifestyle. You may need some herbs and supplements in order to sort of tone down whatever reactions your body may be having. But if you follow the lifestyle, which actually is one of the leading causes of this disease, then you will reverse the problem. But for cancer and for certain diseases that has a the time is of the essence, then you may need other things to fight this. In Spiritual Gifts, Volume 4, from the same author, page 135, she says, there are more who die from the use of drugs than all who died of disease had nature been left to do her own. In the April 15, 1998 magazine of the American Medical Association, the #1 magazine of the medical doctors in the world, the #1 cause of death was heart disease. #2 was cancer. #3 was diabetes. #4 was medically induced death. So this is in a country where safety and health is so paramount when it comes to the medical industry. So this was released in 1998, and the doctors, the Medical Association, wondered how come medically induced death was the 4th leading cause of death. However, in July 26, 2000, it became the #3 cause of death, killing about 225,000 deaths in a year. That's comparable to 2 jumbo jets falling every 3 or 4 days. If an airline does that, it'll close down the airline within a year's time, or less than a year's time. But that is what they reported. However, in October 8, 2003, it became the #1 cause of death, 783,936 deaths. And this was just the reported cases. It was only 10% of the reported cases. There are other cases that were not reported. Now, this is in the United States, where not only do they have a Health and Safety Commission that is so strict, but have the most high-tech system, medical system in the world. And yet they have this. Now, if you were to follow the same protocol in the Philippines, we are not only going to be spending so much, but we're going to be horrified by results like this. They broke it down in 2003. 2,000 deaths a year when the patient should not have undergone surgery, but they had to do surgery. Medication error, they made a mistake with the medicine. Infections in the hospital, because the hospital is it's a thriving ground for what we call antibiotic resistance drugs. That's 106,000 deaths a year, and 80,000 deaths a year. And non-error, that means they had the right drug, but died of side effect, 106,000 deaths per year. That is cause for alarm. That was 2003. They did not repeat the study the next couple of years. But if it was #1 then, it would probably be #1 even now. In research done by the U.S. Congress Office of Technology Assessment, all these medical and surgical techniques being done in the United States, only 10 to 20% have undergone medical studies. That means 85 to 95% of the medical and surgical treatments being done in the States, like chemotherapy, radiation, and so on, were all experimental. If you have cancer, you do surgery, chemo, radiation, and since there's no cure yet for cancer, then that means it's experimental. But the cost financially and physically to the patient is terrible. So if you're going to be experimenting, would it not be better to do no harm, to put less stressful and toxic agents into your body so your body can rally and fight disease? And then, more than half of the new drugs that were approved by the FDA for marketing in the US had severe or fatal side effects which were not found during the testing phase and was not evident until many years after. This was the research done by the US Congress General Accounting Office. So I would be asked by conventional doctors, you know, the herbs you're using, they did not undergo medical study, they did not go through a double-blind study, and you know, we can't use it because we don't know all these things. And yet, the drugs that underwent all these studies, more than half can kill or even have severe side effects that were not found during the testing phase. So the golden standard of medicine is that it should have gone through double-blind study. What do you mean by double-blind? You take 100 patients, 50% you give a drug, 50% you give a placebo, and they don't know what you're giving them, then you wait who will die and who will live, you know. If the 50% with a placebo live, a placebo is something that it looks like a drug, but it doesn't have anything there, and no chemical component. And when they take it, if they get better, then it was psychological. If they die, both group died, then the drug given them didn't work. Or if the one with the drug improved, then it is successful. That is what we call double-blind study. And most of the time, university hospitals and teaching hospitals would include their patients, and they would be told, oh, we have a free medicine for you. We'll include you in our study, and they'll be given, quote unquote, the medicine. But 50% doesn't know that what is being given them is a drug or a placebo. That's why they're called double blind. They don't know what they're being given. Now, if it were your grandparents or your mother who goes through that program and she thought she was being treated, but actually was being given a placebo and she died of cancer or something, is that ethical? And yet, that is the system. Men are being treated like animals because that's what evolution says. Men are animals. Human beings are evolved creatures. You experiment on them, chop them, use all sorts of things. They have forgotten that we are God's creation. They have forgotten that Christ died for man, for him to be treated such. So it is really something for a Christian to say he's a believer in God and then put things that will destroy his system and think that it will be something that God would approve of. Another quotation from the same writer says, when drugs are introduced into a system, for a time they seem to have a beneficial effect. A change may take place, but the disease is not cured. In fact, it will manifest itself in some other form. In nature's efforts to expel the drug from the system, intense suffering sometimes are caused to the patient. So we do have patients after chemotherapy, they'd be screaming in pain not from the cancer, but from the medications that were given to them. Dr. Flavier, the former Secretary of the Department of Health and later became Senator, says, half of the drugs sold in the country today are only for temporary relief of symptoms and do not cure the diseases intended to be cured. He says 70% of medicines sold are either non-essential or undesirable. I don't know if that is political suicide, but he did not become active after that. But at least he was able to put a law that says every Filipino has the right to use and promote natural healing. We're the only country with that kind of law. So we probably should tap that in terms of medical tourism. Now, the research that they did is 99% of disease are caused, 70% of disease are caused by lifestyle, and the treatment is 99% drugs. How can drugs or pharmaceutical product change one's lifestyle? Theoretically, it should be health promotion and health education to help that person change or modify his lifestyle. Most diseases are caused by improper diet and lifestyle. And if we can only change our diet and lifestyle, then most diseases could be prevented or treated through natural ways. Well, we do have the New Start modification, which we change into what we call the a new program, because the A stands for alternative, things that you can add and utilize in order to get better results. An example would be the development of cancer. If you are stressed out, your body will produce abnormal hormones. These hormones will produce bad cells, substandard cells, which can in turn produce more and more bad cells. At the same time, as you produce stress hormones, your immune system goes down. So having an production of certain bad hormones or stress hormones or chemicals that are not good, at the same time your immune system is weak, is a formula for cancer. Then, if you change, if the person is given hope, you gave him some motivational counseling, you tell him, you have to look at the brighter side of life, then that in turn will make the body produce less stress hormones, increase the balance that the hormones will do, like the estrogen and progesterone for breast cancers and cancers of the ovary and uterus, and then you give a better, stronger immune system. So just by changing one's attitude, by changing one's way of looking at things, of looking at problems, there's already an effect. It leads to less production of bad cells and a stronger, more powerful immune system. What if not only do you do this emotionally or mentally, but you also change the chemistry of the body? You introduce things into the body that will strengthen it and make it more powerful against cancer and remove whatever offending chemicals might be causing the cancer. So not only is it a physical and a mental, emotional approach, then spiritually you change. Whatever might be the worry and stress of that person, then you point him to the source of health. Some conventional doctor will tell us we are giving patients false hope. No. God exists. And there's no such thing as false hope if you point them to the God who created us. Now, there are many ways wherein we approach natural healing. Usually we do cleansing. And cleansing is a procedure that can be done physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. This is actually another way of approaching disease. We believe that most diseases are caused by toxins. And if we can clean out these toxins, we will get results. So the approach is a treatment regime, planning the diet, the lifestyle of the patient, detox procedures, certain herbal supplements that will help not only detox but boost the immune system in different ways. And if there are plugged up arteries and things that needs to be dissolved, we give enzymes as well. So there are many ways of approaching it in terms of cleansing. There's a cleansing diet, fasting, amino acid, bioflavonoids, vitamins and minerals, enzyme supplements, and herbal therapy and green tea. There are also intravenous physical therapy techniques that are used in order to do a detox program. That one we will probably do a lecture on later, when we have a lecture on what detox and cleansing was all about. But basically, when you talk about alternative medicine, you are going to be attacking a disease from different front. Some patients will just do herbal therapy, some will do maybe just diet and cleansing, and some would even do some high-tech equipment that are very expensive. So what we try to do right here is that to give you an idea of some of the things, and at the same time some of the things you can do at home. We hope while you follow this series, you will be blessed, and that you will see that while you do your part, God is there blessing and keeping an eye out on you. It's like a farmer. You plant the seeds, you water it, you put fertilizers, and you make the soil fertile. Then you wait patiently for the Lord. As the Bible says, those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall rise up with wings like eagle. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. God bless you all.
View the whole Start a New program, starting with the opening interview with Dr. Samuel Thiessen, parts 1 and 2, and the closing interview. There are lectures on what is natural healing on Christianity, parts 1 and 2. God's marvelous self-healing body. Cancer, it can be prevented, parts 1 and 2. Alternative program for kidney disease. Diabetes, whys and hows of detox. Learn about modalities used for healing, such as body massage, hot stone massage, ventosa, charcoal pack, charcoal wrap, enema, and facial clay treatment. A video demo on how to prepare concoctions is also available. Watch the question and answer section recorded before a live audience. And enjoy the bonus sections on medical missionary work, also recorded before a live audience. Thank you, and may God keep you in good health.